The Timberwolves are moving on. Full recap of Game 5's win over Golden State. Plus, the Twins are red hot. The Vikings schedule is out, and you'll meet one of North Dakota's best high school football players. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the back-to-back edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra, KSFL, good morning in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Thursday, everybody. 15th day of May. We're halfway through the month. The Timberwolves are still playing basketball, and they're gonna until the end of May again for the second year in a row. The Minnesota Timberwolves are playing in the Western Conference Finals. Let that sink in for just a second. Okay, the Wolves. I was ready to trade everyone on November 10th when they couldn't get out of their own way. When Rudy Gobert wouldn't get out of the lane because Julius Randle wouldn't pass him the ball. We've come a long ways from there, everybody. The Timberwolves will have some time off before playing in the Western Conference Finals for the second year in a row. All the teams we follow, all they do is win. The Twins can't lose. The Twins have a double-digit win streak. They have the longest win streak in baseball so far in 2025. After being couldn't throw from me to the door, now apparently they're unbeatable and going for another sweep later this morning against the Baltimore Orioles. And we have all of the football schedules are out. Granted, I think we knew probably about 6:30 last night who was playing whom. Well, that's actually the fun part about this. We actually already knew who was playing whom late in last December. We just didn't know the order. Now we know that, which will break that in full down. The Vikings schedule coming up later on in the program. I mentioned in our show tease, I'm really excited about our program today for obvious reasons. We're going to recap the Wolves game here in a second. We're getting near to state track time. That's a week from today. It gets going. We'll have live coverage on Extra for all 3 days out in Bismarck. We're really pumped about that. You'll see every event live streamed on WDAY+. One of the athletes that could do some big-time damage next week in Bismarck. He's going to be on our show today. And that might be his third-best sport. Class B guy, which we always like to feature those. That's coming up later on the show. But let's get to Target Center from last night. Obviously, the Wolves were up 3-1. You win. You don't have to worry, obviously, about going back to San Francisco for Game 6 and the looming possibility of Steph Curry coming back for a Game 6 because there'd be 3 days off if the Warriors were able to win last night at Target Center. And the biggest difference on how this played out was Ant was aggressive to start, hit a deep 3, put the Timberwolves up by 6. Much like Game 4, Minnesota put the hammer down. How about the lob from Dante to Rudy? Rudy was great in Game 5, much like he was in Game 5 against the Lakers. Dante was making shots. He had a deep 3, then drives and scores. Puts the Wolves up by 8. 4-point lead, middle of the second quarter, and their deep 3 from Ant puts Minnesota up by 7. Golden State got back into it with Jonathan Kuminga. How about Kuminga? Has he earned himself a contract? I don't know about that with what's going on with the Warriors. Mike Conley was great. The Wolves put a 17-5 run together to end the first half. Julius with an and one here right before the end of the first half put Minnesota up by 14. They led by 15 at the break. Third quarter, Conley, the extra pass. Ant steps into a three, knocks it down. Minnesota up by 18. They got up by as many as 21 in the third quarter. The lead 16. Another alley-oop here. Ant was dishing last night. We can question the amount of turnovers the Wolves had, which was not great. That was probably the one thing at least I was griping about. The amount of times they turned the ball over. This could have been a 30-point win. Nice finish by Rudy underneath. The Warriors, though, before this three cuts it down to a 9-point game. I think everybody was starting to get a bit nervous. And then Minnesota hit a couple of threes. Edwards there puts it back to a 12-point lead. You can't say enough about the defense that Jaden McDaniels had in this series on Jimmy Butler. Here, forces the steal, goes in for the dunk. Butler was invisible in the last two games of this series, certainly in Game 4 and last night. How about another alley-oop from Ant to McDaniels for the throwdown? The crowd was ready to explode for the last 3 minutes of this game. In transition, Randall goes for 29 to Julius last night. And the Timberwolves are moving on to the Western Conference Finals. 121 to 110 the final. After losing Game 1, they win the last 4 games of this series. And you do not apologize who was not available. Obviously, Curry left after playing 13 minutes in Game 1. But the Timberwolves take care of business and move on. Randall goes for 29. Ant goes for 22 points and 12 assists. That was sensational last night. Rudy was really good as well. 17 points. How many dunks did he have? Brandon Podziemski was really good for Golden State. 28 in the loss. But it is the 6th-seeded Wolves for the second year in a row moving on to the Western Conference Finals.
The challenge we laid down to our guys from day one was quite simple. It was one question. Were you a Western Conference Finals team, or were you a team that just happened to make the Western Conference Finals? And there's only one way to prove that. Go out and do it again. And that was our mission all year. And, it took a lot of growing pains, but the team's come together at the right time and playing its best basketball. So.
What you learn about him, he believes everything he says, no matter what it is. And at that moment last year, I believed him. I believed that we'd have another opportunity together, and this wasn't the end of the road. And he'd been working all summer for that. He worked all season for that, and he's led us to this point. Him, Julius, Dante, all the people that have followed along and added in piece by piece as we go. It kind of all starts with him and his belief in himself and his teammates.
Just trusting the work, man. I know I trust myself. So anytime I tell them, it's time for that. So they already know. They know what it is. Like when I get in that mode, just give me the ball and try to get me open. I tell them all the time, you set a good screen, we're going to score. I promise you. So.
Oh, man. All right. So look at that. The Wolves in the final part of that bracket is tremendous. So they will wait now to play the winner of OKC and Denver. Game 6 of that is tonight on ESPN. If the Thunder win, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals will be Sunday in Oklahoma City. If Denver wins, Game 7 of that series is Sunday, and then Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals will be on Tuesday night, either in Denver or OKC. The Wolves are hoping these two teams go ahead and battle it out. They are in the same spot that Minnesota was in this round last year. You remember the Wolves had to win Game 6. They clobbered Denver, and then they had the epic Game 7 comeback win against the Nuggets. Now, here's the series matchups. We all know the Wolves swept the Nuggets this season. I don't foresee that happening in the Western Conference Finals. Denver looks like a different animal since they fired Michael Malone. And they split their 4 games with OKC. Remember, they had that ridiculous comeback on the road at OKC. Gosh, when was that? February or March, Eric? I can't remember, but it was a ridiculous comeback that they had against the Thunder in this stretch where they've been one of the best teams in the NBA. So that's the scenario there. in the West. In the East, the Celtics staved off elimination last night, routing New York to force a Game 6, which will be tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. The Celtics aren't done yet. They won one game without Jason Tatum. If they win tomorrow night, then it's full-on panic mode, I can tell you, in New York. Game 7 of that series would be on Monday in Boston. We'll see if the Knicks can close it out. The Pacers await the winner after their 5-game series win over Cleveland. It was February. Thanks, bud. So, 2 of the finalists of the Final Four in the NBA are repeats from last year. The Pacers, remember they made it to the Final Four, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost to Boston. The Wolves made it, lost to Dallas. You've got it. Just wrap that around your head, everyone. I covered so many bad Wolves teams. The fact that they're in the Final Four for the second year in a row, just can't wrap your mind around it, that they are 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. And boy, it is going to be tough. They cannot play as loose with the ball as they were in this series, specifically the last 2 games. They turned it over 20 times last night. Ant had 7 turnovers. And just loose with the ball. You cannot, they will get drilled by Denver, Oklahoma City if that happens. It's been high-level basketball in that series. And you can say, well, okay, they beat an old Lakers team. You know, Luka's out of shape. LeBron is 40 years old. And then they beat a Warriors team without Steph. Okay, you can't apologize for what happened, right? The Knicks are trying to beat the Celtics without Tatum. Injuries happen. The Pacers beat the Cavs, who were beat up at the end. The Donovan Mitchell was 100%. You don't apologize for who you beat. And that's where they're at right now. And now they've got some time here. They're either going to have at least 3 days off or a potential of nearly a week, much like they had in the last round after they beat the Lakers. Fun stuff last night. We'll have more on that coming up later on in the show. Also yesterday, I told you, you got a full day because the Twins were playing 2 games and then the Wolves last night. And unbelievable. Everybody won yesterday. The Frost won, too. They're going to the Walter Cup final for the second year in a row. The Twins, after being rained out Tuesday, played a straight-on doubleheader yesterday against Baltimore. And not even rain can slow down this team, apparently, because they are going in a big-time way. Harrison Bader, what a fabulous catch here. And that looked painful. Running into the wall, sliding into the wall to make a great catch, help out Bailey Ober early in the game. Now, Bader actually left the second game with injury, but that's dynamite catch there with no room up there. That cannot feel great. Baltimore led 1-0 in game 1. Gunnar Henderson blasts this one to Utah Street. I love Camden Yards. That is one of my favorite ballparks there. 2-run shot. It's a 3-0 Orioles lead in game 1 of this double dip. Now a 3-1 score after a Brooks Lee home run. How about Christian Vasquez gets into one? A 3-run home run. That is his first home run since August and gives Minnesota the 4-3 lead. Brock Stewart is back. Nasty pitch there to get out of a jam. Keep it a 4-3 score. Varland pitching in the 7th. Buxton comes up with a nice diving catch in center field. Byron's doing a little bit of everything right now. He's hitting. He's certainly playing some really good center field. Twins get some insurance in the 9th inning. Trevor Larnach had a great day at the plate. This down the right field line for a double. Buxton would come around and score. That made it a 5-3 lead. They would add a wild pitch run. Twins win game 1, 6-3, thanks to Vasquez's first home run in months. Game 2, just a half hour later, and Larnach starts the scoring early with a bomb here, a 2-run shot, and gets Minnesota out to a 3-0 lead in the second inning. Kobe Clemens has arrived, and obviously after Luke Keeschall got hurt, and boy, he's delivered at the plate. Here's a base hit to right to score Brooks Lee. I don't know what he's doing in the base pass here. We can talk about that. That you can't get thrown out. It's a 4-0 Twins lead. It all evaporated, though, on Simeon Woods-Richardson in the third inning. Cedric Mullins crushes this for a grand slam. And all of a sudden, the Orioles have surged ahead at 5-4. It all went away on one pitch. It didn't last even a next batter. This is crushed from Heston Kierstad as a home run. It's 6-4 Orioles in the third inning. That would be it for Woods-Richardson after that. But the Twins' bats come back. Willie Castro delivers here in the top of the fifth with a blast to center, 402 feet. Now it's a 6-5 Orioles lead. And Clemens would deliver the biggest hit of the day here in the eighth inning with 2 runners on, off former Twin Yaniel Cano, all-star, a 3-run shot to right field. The Twins have come all the way back to lead at 8-6. The bullpen would shut things down, and the Minnesota Twins sweep the doubleheader. They have won 10 in a row. They beat the Orioles in Game 2, 8-6. The final score. Simeon Woods-Richardson, with some news on him here in a minute, goes 4 innings, allows 8 hits and 6 runs. The bullpen did their job after that. Alcala, Funderburk, Topa, and Cole Sands got the save. They are in a way right now. 10 wins in a row. Now 3 games over 500. Baltimore falls to 15-26 on the year. The Twins did make a personnel move this morning. You see there that Simeon Woods-Richardson opted down to St. Paul. Maybe a surprise move there. Cody Funderburk will stay. He was the 27th man added because you can do that for a doubleheader. And he actually will stay with the team after they opted Woods-Richardson down. And he was not great yesterday. 7 starts, 2-2 with an ERA north of 5 in 37 innings. 8 home runs allowed, of course, the couple yesterday. Opponents are hitting .295 off of him. That's not good. That's pretty good batting average. So the Twins make that roster move yesterday. And you see now, much like last year, look at the American League Central. What a time to be alive is right. 4 of the top 6 in the American League are out of the Central. The Tigers are the best team. Then the Guardians. Then the Royals. And now, how are the Twins on there? It wasn't that long ago the Twins were 8-100. Now they were like 8-17. They will go for the sweep later this afternoon. Actually, it's 11:30 start, and try to stay unbeaten against the Orioles this year. Chris Paddock will throw for Minnesota. Tomoyuki Sagano will go for Baltimore. If they wear those jerseys today, watch it. Those are orange. Sagano's actually been pretty good for Baltimore. 4-2 with an ERA just north of 2.7. That's coming up 11:30 start time for that one at Camden Yards. And then it's on to the Brewers for the Twins this weekend. 10 in a row. Man, oh man. We have a packed show coming up for you here today on this Thursday morning. Our guest lineup brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. You'll meet Ty Sylling coming up at 9:35. Standout athlete from Maple River, North Dakota. He is going to play football at the University of Sioux Falls next year. Before that, he's got his eyes set on potential state championships in track. He's a tremendous basketball player. You're going to meet him coming up at 9:35. Sam Goetzinger will join us in his usual 10 o'clock time slot. We have our St. Cloud Hour of Power coming up today as well. Sam at 10. Alec Ausmus from KSTP TV Sports. Look at that photo of Sam. You guys are doing your homework, finding some old photos there. That's coming up at 10:35. With Alec, we'll recap, obviously, everything with the Wolves last night. Look ahead to the West Finals. We'll chat some Vikings news as well coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more on our show this morning. We come back. We will break down in full. The Vikings 2025 schedule is out. That and a heck of a lot more. Glad you're joining us. Hot Mike back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show. This is literally the calm before the storm. We're going from 90 to 40 apparently over the next 48 hours. We're hopeful we're going to have North Dakota State baseball tonight. We'll have that for you coming up here on Extra at 6:30 tonight. The Bison open up their final regular season series against Omaha. Fingers crossed they'll be able to bring that to you coming up later tonight. We'll give you the full details on that before we say goodbye this morning. Okay, so we finally now can digest the NFL schedule is out. So now people can plan weddings, you can plan reunions, or you can tell everybody you're not going to any of them because now you know the schedule. And certainly, I'm sure there's going to be Viking fans in our area that are going to do the double and go to Ireland and go to England, which I tip my hat to you and say, go for it. That sounds fantastic. I would love to do that. But the Vikings apparently maybe became the darlings of the National Football League, and we didn't know it with the announcement last night of their 2025 schedule. As we knew, they were going to play 8 home games. They weren't losing any games at U.S. Bank Stadium, 9 road games, with 2 of them being games against the Steelers and the Browns. Those are the games going overseas. So, without further ado, here's what the schedule looks like for the Vikings in 2025. It opens with a Monday night game against the Chicago Bears on WDAY. J.J. McCarthy's debut will be at Soldier Field. He is a Chicago kid, so he's going to be back at his hometown against the Bears. And then the home opener is a Sunday night affair against the Atlanta Falcons with Michael Penix, not Kirk Cousins at quarterback, on NBC. Boy, it'd be rocking for Sunday Night Football to open up the season. Then Joe Burrow, our guy Cordell Volson, and the Cincinnati Bengals come to U.S. Bank Stadium for a noon game on CBS. Then it's the back-to-back games overseas. The Steelers in Dublin on the NFL Network, and then the Browns in London, also on NFL Network. Look at that, though. You can watch the game in the morning, and then you have the rest of your Sunday. That's pretty darn good. I like that. Then the bye week comes after that on October the 12th. Then the Eagles come to U.S. Bank Stadium. How about the first handful of games? The Vikes only have 2 noon kickoffs. But they have, Eric, confirm this if I'm right on this. I think last year, did they not have the bye, then play, and then had to go to L.A. last year to play the Rams short week? Because they have the same thing here. They have the Eagles and then a short week to play the Chargers on a Thursday night on Amazon Prime on October the 23rd. Then at the Lions, back-to-back. That's going to be tough. At the Chargers, you have at least the mini bye. Then at the Lions to start November. Home for the Ravens. Boy, that stretch right there. Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens is going to be awfully, awfully difficult. Then the Bears. Then back-to-back roadies again. They do that 3 times this season with back-to-back road games. At Green Bay, at Seattle. They always play at the Seahawks. But for those wondering, when the Vikings face off with Gray Zabel and the Seahawks will be the end of November, right after Thanksgiving, 3:05 on November the 30th. Then the final month of the season, home for the Commanders. Again, Washington was a NFC finalist last year. At the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. That will get some people from up here to go, I would imagine. A trip to Dallas. Now, with Frisco out of the mix, this is your only trip to North Texas for football fans in this part of the world. At the Giants after that, that could be gross weather. Who knows what the Giants will be by then. And then Christmas Day, short week, against the Lions on Netflix. So start preparing now, folks. That game is exclusive to Netflix. If you want to watch, that's where you can find it. And then the Packers to wrap up how about that? You got to love that, right? Packers to be the final game of the season. But that hasn't happened forever. The Vikes have always played the Lions or the Bears over the last few years, right? I can't remember the last time they played Green Bay.
The last time, if I remember correctly, was 2016.
Seriously?
17 season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That was when Rodgers went off with Jordy Nelson and
Okay.
Adam Thielen had
Yep. I remember that
so
one.
many touchdowns and they saved my fantasy season that year, actually.
So there you have it. There it is. All 17 games. Boy, that's not easy, which wasn't going to be the case. You win 14 games, you get a difficult schedule. It wasn't going to be like last year where they finished under 500 and we're going to be playing, and you don't play the AFC South. That was the thing, I think, for all the teams in the NFC North last year. I don't think anybody lost to the AFC South. The Packers didn't. The Lions didn't. The Bears and the Vikings went undefeated against the AFC South. This year you're playing the AFC North. That's much different. But the big change there for the Vikes, at least, you're not going to Pittsburgh and you're not going to Cleveland. You get Cincinnati and Baltimore at U.S. Bank Stadium, which is going to be a challenge in its own right. I think the home games, look who you got coming to U.S. Bank Stadium. Atlanta, Cincinnati, the world champs, Baltimore, the Bears figure to be better, the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, the Lions, and the Packers. That's a dynamite home schedule. You didn't lose any of those games. That's a really good and really tough home schedule. Road games, I don't know what to make of the Giants at the end. The Cowboys game on Sunday Night Football will be tough. Packers in November. Seattle's always tough. The Chargers on a short week. There'll be a ton of Viking fans there. We already talked about the overseas game and open up at the Bears. I don't know. I mean, Vegas, I think, has the Vikings at 8.5 right now, over win total. They're not winning 14. I think they can win 10. We'll do the wins and losses when we get closer to the start of the season. But that's where it lays out. We'll later on in the show, we'll break down the primetime games that came out and the holiday games as well. That's coming up later on in the show. But there you have it, folks, for the Vikings schedule for 2025. We're due for a break. We come back. You'll be one of North Dakota's top athletes who's going for some state titles next week in track. T. Sylling will join us when Hot Mike returns on this Thursday morning. We're back on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show off and rolling. Much more on the Wolves' big win last night coming up later on in the show. We'll dive into that in our second hour. We mentioned a week from today, the biggest class reunion that we have in the state of North Dakota, better known as the state track meet, gets going out in Bismarck. Our next guest is going to be part of that. That's just one of the sports that he has excelled at is his time at Maple River High School, which is about to wrap up. Then he's on to play football at the University of Sioux Falls. I've been keeping an eye on him over the last couple of years. I've seen him out, his name on the recruiting trail, and he's going to be playing football in the NSIC next year. From Maple River, T. Sylling joins us here this morning on Hot Mic. First off, I got to make sure, we were joking off air. How often do you get called Ty?
I get called it a lot. My name gets mispronounced quite a bit. It's pretty funny.
You just roll with the punches now?
Yeah, I just got to laugh at it.
Well, I appreciate you giving us some time this morning. First off, congrats on qualifying for state track. Give me the mindset of getting ready for next week with one last run out in Bismarck.
I'm just ready to have a lot of fun because I knew it was a lot of fun last year when I did one event. So I'm sure when I do 3 events, and especially 2 on the track, that I'm really excited to do that. I feel like it'll be a really good time.
How much has that, T, helped you for your other sports? You play basketball, you play football. How much has track helped you get ready for football specifically?
I think it's just been training. I feel like running and doing the sprints really helps me just build that speed up that I can use in football, build that quickness. And then obviously being a quarterback and throwing the javelin kind of correlate pretty well. So I feel like it just kind of built on it.
You just last week state qualifying run the 223.18. You had a PR in the 100. You feel like your best times are ahead of you for next week?
Yeah, hopefully I can get a good win that state.
What do you like the 1 or the 2 prefer, or do you have a preference in one of those?
I've always been kind of a 100 runner, but then I kind of started doing well at it this year, and it's become a lot of fun, and which I didn't really expect at all because I've mainly just been doing the 100 my whole high school career.
I got to ask here about football. Tell me about the recruiting cycle, because you play at a 9-man school, which now that it's become more popular for colleges to find it, but did you have to search out schools, or did they come to you?
It was kind of a mix of both. I went to a lot of camps, a lot of junior days, and quite a few like visits and calls. But some coaches did reach out, but a lot of it was kind of going out and talking to them first.
When did you get a sense that you could play at the next level?
I feel like last year I did a lot of weight training and plyometrics my sophomore summer and going into my junior year. And I felt like I had a pretty successful junior year, and I knew I was able to like really succeed my senior year and really show the colleges that I could play.
You were named first team quarterback, North Dakota 9-man. What did that mean to you?
It meant a pretty big deal because I knew last year I kind of had a big head, and I thought I wanted it. I wanted it pretty bad, and I thought I needed it, but just to get it this year was a pretty big relief.
Knowing full well the level of players in 9-man, I mean, there's some dudes. Describe that honor being honored to the Fargo Dome.
It was pretty big. To stand in front of all those people, like, obviously I would want to play, but obviously just getting that award and representing my region like that in my school, it meant a lot.
You also played, I think we featured this during the fall. You played in the craziest game of the year, an 82-58 game. What do you, outside of no defense, what do you remember about that game?
Yeah, I remember watching my coach's interview with you, and me and my teammates were just laughing so much. It was pretty fun. And just what I remember from that game was just having a good time, because it was a beautiful day, just running out playing basically backyard football because there's no defense.
So what are your coaches telling you on the sidelines when the game is playing out the way it was?
I know my assistant coach, Sean Belkey, he was also my history teacher, so we're pretty good buddies. He would just tell me to go get one more. Go get one more touchdown. Make sure we don't slip that lead.
82-50. I mean, you just got to. How exhausted were you after a game like that?
Well, after a couple runs, you'd cramp, and then I have to go out for a play, and then I have to come back in for a couple plays. So it was kind of miserable, but fun at the same time.
That last game, you lost to Hankinson and the year. What the emotions of that, knowing that it was over? Tell me about that.
Well, I know me and my team didn't hold anything back that game, so I was proud of my teammates. I was proud of our coaching staff, because we really just brought it all that game, and it just wasn't our night. And Hankinson played a really good game, and we just couldn't stop some of their schemes, some of their offense. So it felt good to know that we gave it our all and just really tried our best. But it was also pretty crushing to lose that way.
You also knew, though, your football career wasn't done. I know that's not solace, but what was that thought like? Okay, this is not the last time I'm putting the pads on.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous for the future, because I know that if you succeed in high school football, you don't know what's going to happen in college, because there's just that level of competition. And I'm excited for it, but I'm also a little anxious, because I just don't know what to expect, really.
I was going to ask, so tell me about when USF came into the picture and why that was the school for you.
Well, they called and offered me, and I really had never heard of the school. But me and Coach Luders had a really good conversation over the phone. And I was actually coming back from another school's camp, which was pretty fun, and it was super surprising. And then we went down for a game day, and it just I really liked it. It kind of felt like home. And the coaches brought me and my parents into the office and really just set it all on the plate. They just had so much information, and I really liked how they were so straightforward, and just I saw the way that they coached on the field, obviously, and I just really loved it.
Was it a commit on site, or did you go home and think about it?
I think it was 2 days after.
Okay.
Because I looked at my dad and I said, "This might be it," and he just had the biggest grin on his face. It was pretty funny, because then the recruiting process was over. We could relax and just really settle into our new home.
The fact that you're going to play Division II football, what's that mean to you?
It means a lot. I've always watched college football. I've loved football my whole life, and just to be a part of it, I'm really excited for.
So obviously you play quarterback in high school. Where are they thinking of playing you in the Division II level?
Well, at first, like a lot of schools, I was just going to try and do it like an athlete to maybe see where they would put me. But then they kind of had talked about moving me to outside linebacker, and I'm like, sure, just whatever you think will get me on the field, and I'm excited to play that.
Did you play? How much defense did you play? Because 9-man, you got to play both ways. So how much defense though were you playing?
Well, obviously, in a lot of our games are pretty high scoring, so probably not very much. But I tried my best, and my team tried our best, and I just really love it because you just really straightforward. There's not really much like scheme to it.
Right.
You just got plays.
You get to go and hit people. That's basically what you're going to do, right?
Yeah, especially a linebacker. Yeah.
The NSIC is pretty darn good, T. What obviously you know about the Dragons up here in Fargo-Moorhead. What about Jamestown? Obviously, is going to be in that league now, knowing full well the level of competition. What's appealing to you? What are you excited about, knowing what you're going to get yourself into?
Yeah, I really just taken interest in it this past couple of years as the coaches have started to talk to me, and I didn't really know very much about D2. But then once I started to look into it, I'm like, geez, there's some dudes in this league. And I'm just really excited to be a part of that and just really be in that level of competition.
The fact you mentioned you committed, I want to say September, correct?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
So to have it done, how much of a relief was that for the rest of the season for you?
Yeah, because me and my parents were like always kind of stressing about it, always looking or like where to go, what to see. And just really to be done was kind of a huge relief for us to just know that this is the spot we want to go to, or I want to go to.
Was it always football, or was there another sport that had your interest when you were growing up?
I really got into track, especially my sophomore year, and I think I'm thinking about dual sporting down in Sioux Falls, which is really fun, and just really only football though.
You throw the jav. That is one of my favorite events for personally in track. Outside of the obvious, you need to be good. How do you be good in the javelin? I mean, you need upper body strength, but what else do we not know about to become good at the javelin throw?
It took me a while because it's mainly just your feet also, because you just really got to build up that power as in your run up and just really release it at the right point and with the right steps. And it took me a while to get that right. And me and my coach really worked on it, and I feel like I've kind of got it down this year.
In North Dakota with the wind, man, how do you be good at the javelin? That's all I wonder. The wind's got to take that everywhere, right?
You just got to hope that the track meet places it behind it or in front of
it. Are you going to be competing in that as well at state next week?
Yep.
Describe that anticipation of doing that as well for the last time.
I feel like it's just been my favorite event for so long, and just come in because I'm ranked second in Class B right now, and just I'm really excited to just try and PR and obviously just place.
I got to give you a hard time here for your game. We mentioned that 82-58 game. You scored 7 touchdowns. Is that right?
I think either 7 or 8 around there. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, 7. Sorry, 7 rushing touchdowns. Well, I don't want to short you. 1 passing touchdown. How much did your buddies, your classmates, give you a hard time on Monday when you came back to school?
Yeah, my classmates really kind of laid into me, and some of my teachers thought it was pretty funny.
To have a game like that, I mean, just that's the pinnacle, right? Of that on a Friday night, playing with my friends. I know you wanted to win, but to have that kind of game, you're going to have that memory forever, right?
Yeah.
Describe now what's ahead. You got finishing out school here. You got a couple weeks left, then it's off. And then what has Sioux Falls told you about what they want you down there to start school?
So I'm kind of disappointed because I don't get to go down there till like August 4th because as a freshman they don't provide housing and it's too far away for me to drive for summer workouts, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm still excited for it.
So what do you get to do? So are you working out at home here for the next couple months to get ready to go down?
Yep. Yeah, I'll be just working out at either the local gym or just at my school's gym, and then also doing some construction landscaping over the summer.
There you go. You got to get that in too. I really appreciate the time, but congratulations. Good luck next week at state, and we'll stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it.
There he goes. T. Sylling. Make sure you get it right. It's not Ty. It's not Sylling. T. Sylling joining us here from Maple River. One of the best athletes in our state, and he's set to. You'll keep an eye on him next week at the state track meet in Bismarck, and he'll be playing football in the Northern Sun at Sioux Falls next season. Good stuff there, and we appreciate. Again, we had to go back to that game because I think we had Coach Fontaine on afterwards, that 82-58 game earlier this year. And again, his stat line, 27 rushes, 389 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and a passing touchdown. Other than that, not so great. What a wild game. Appreciate his time here. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour coming up. Much more on the Wolves' victory last night, and a heck of a lot more on the NFL schedule. Back on Hot Mic on this Thursday, right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to T. Sylling for giving us a few minutes here on this Thursday morning. Good kid, and keep an eye on him next week out at State Track. I'm here to officially announce as well that summer is over. We enjoyed the 90 degrees the last few days. I hope you all did that. Our friend Craig Haley tweeted this out this morning, that today we are 100 days from the start of the 2025 college football season. August 23rd is week 0. So there you have it. So for those keeping track, that means we're 107 days away from the Bison opener against the Citadel and everything from there. So I hope you enjoyed summer, everybody. It's over. We had the 4 days to start at the beginning of the week, and then we're off and rolling. We did our first preview of the Spotlight games in FCS football on Monday. We looked at the Week 0 games. If you missed that, you can go back and check that out on our podcast or watch it on WDAY+. But we'll get to Week 1 coming up on Monday's show, and we're off and rolling after that. It is a great sports day. Obviously, we've got NHL, NBA playoffs going on. PGA Championship is underway at Quail Hollow. The second major of the season. Our guy Tom Hoagie will play later today. He likes this golf course. He has played this course before. This is a familiar track, as they like to say. Tom will tee off at 12:30 this afternoon Central Time. Ryan Fox is currently the leader, one shot better than Luke Donald right now. Alex Noren, Alex Smalley, a bunch of guys you've never heard of at the top of the leaderboard. Most of the big names will go out later today. Already with scoring like that, that may portend that this could be a track meet kind of golf tournament, which is not my favorite. I like the ones that you have to struggle in, is maybe the best way to describe it. But that's what's going on. The PGA Championship will keep you up to date on that. Also, last night, we didn't get time at the top of the show. In the NHL, Edmonton eliminated Vegas yesterday, so the Oilers are on to the Western Conference Finals. Last year's runner-up in the Stanley Cup. They'll play either Dallas or Winnipeg. That series could end tonight. Dallas leads that series 3-1. Also, Toronto got beat by Florida. The reigning champs have now won 3 in a row in that series, and they can knock out the Maple Leafs tomorrow. Carolina, Washington play tonight. The Hurricanes are going for the knockout of the Capitals. So we could be down to the Final Four in the NHL pretty darn quick before we know it. Email comes into the show. Dom, we saw the nationally televised games from ESPN. Do we hear anything on the Bison games yet? We have not. I anticipate, actually, 2 weeks from today, we will know. May 29th is when ESPN and Fox are going to announce the first 3 weeks of the college football schedule for television, kickoff times, and networks. They'll also throw in some special games as well, i.e. the Missouri Valley games, the Big Sky games. So I've been told that you could expect it then. My gut tells me the Dakota Marker game is going to ESPN like it was last year, and potentially one more. I would think the Bison South Dakota game seems like a logical pick, but we're hoping at WDAY that they don't touch that. But that's when the big boys swoop in, they can take whatever they want. We're kind of at beck and call on that one. We really don't have any say in that. So we will see. But for the emailer, I appreciate that coming in. 2 weeks from today, we'll know on that when the schedules start coming out. So we've reached that time of the year. NFL schedule's out. College football starting to trickle out its dates and games for its highlights games to start the season. That's when we're starting to find out on that. Real quick before we go to break, we're going to talk more about this in the second hour. The Bison men's basketball team added another transfer yesterday. Actually, a guy that the Bison have seen each of the last 2 years. From Western Michigan, Makai Strickland signed with NDSU yesterday. The nice part about it, we actually have video of him playing against the Bison. That's him there, number 22. Strickland is 6'6", from Miami, spent the last 2 years I mentioned at Western Michigan. Prior to that, played at a junior college in Texas. Prior to that, played 2 years at St. Louis with the Billikens, which is always fun to say. He's going to his 6th year of college basketball next season. He's a wing, averaged 11 points a game this past season for the Broncos, and adds another some more length to this Bison men's basketball roster for next season. He is the 12th player on the team. He was the third leading scorer for Western Michigan a season ago. So, and I visited briefly with Dave Richmond yesterday. He's actually going to be in studio with us next Wednesday, so set your calendars for that. 10 o'clock next Wednesday, Dave will be here to unpack the comings and goings of the Bison men's basketball roster. From what he told me, they are still looking to add at least 2 more, potentially 3 more guys. So just something to keep your eyes on there. They're not done. They've added 4 transfers and 3 freshmen. Remember, they lost 10 guys after the season ended. 5 are returning. Trayson Anderson is back. Big man from Nebraska. Andy Stefanowicz is back. Noah Federson is back. Carson Smith, who redshirted last year, Craig Smith's son, out of Utah. And then Damari Wheeler-Thomas is back, and he redshirted as well last season. So to bring 2 point guards back is a huge deal in any level of basketball. Division I, in this day and age, if you bring back 2 point guards, you are living well. I don't care what level it is. If you're mid-major, high major, that's a huge deal. So the Bison may have a distinct advantage there. It's about putting the other pieces around that Dave's been working on. So, again, he'll join us next Wednesday to discuss that. But Makai Strickland is the 12th player of the Bison roster for 25-26. We're due for a break. We come back. Our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us. We'll chat some schedule stuff. Who knows what we'll get into with Sam. That's coming up. Hour 2 of Hot Mic begins. The St. Cloud State Power Hour coming up. We come back.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like west. I shouldn't say right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Oh,
I'm getting good at this.
He's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula?
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
There he is. Sammy G, what's going on, my man? How
How's
are you?
it going?
I'm
How's
doing
it going?
well.
Good morning.
Yeah, we're ready. Are you following the golf already today?
I've been keeping my eye on it a little bit. That'll be a big part of my day today. I will hide that on my computer screen so no one sees it.
You just announced it on television,
Well,
man. Now you just told everybody you're not doing anything.
I'm testing to see how many people upstairs are watching the show. It's on everywhere. So I outed myself already.
Also, you're going to be part of our coverage of the Red River Amateur.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for that.
So
that's going to be awesome.
We're doing that in about a month here.
I've always wanted to be a part of covering a golf tournament.
Yeah?
So I am really looking forward to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
This will be fun.
Traditionally, the weather stinks. Last year we lucked out. Actually, we had 3 great days. So I
saw that. Yep.
Prepare for everything is the best way.
I got my rain jackets.
After this past year of traveling with you and telling you what to exactly prepare for weather-wise, I feel I have to do this ahead of time.
I'm worried about track next week.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with that? I'm
prepared for everything there.
I'm never prepared clothes-wise for anything. I was looking at the picture when I walked in here, the Colorado.
Yes.
Wearing the all black.
Yeah,
and
that was not. I told you that.
147 degrees. That was horrible.
I told you that before we left.
I thought it looked
Like,
better.
It does look good, but you might sweat your
I
what
thought
off,
maybe we'd
you
be
know?
under some tree coverage, but that definitely wasn't the case.
What part when they said we were going to be on top of a building did that not click that we were?
Maybe they had an
Any
overhang,
trees were gonna be
an overhang or something. One of those patio trees.
Well, here's fair warning now, since we're 107 days out from the Citadel, that it's going to be warm.
Well,
okay?
I'm banking pretty heavily on that turf thing they got. That I can wear whatever I want and be cool.
Oh, then we were talking. You and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Yes, the Citadel has a football field that generates moisture off the pellets.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
could happen. It could. I'll wear all black in South Carolina, and I will test it.
We're gonna have you're gonna have heat stroke.
It's either going to end up in heat stroke, or
or
I'll be fine, and then I can be the biggest advocate for moisture turf.
That's not word I thought you were going to say there. So we dove through the Vikes schedule. You are a diehard Indianapolis Colts. I've not seen one thing of the Colts schedule. So is it good, bad, indifferent? What?
Here's my thing about NFL schedules. I'm a bigger fan of college schedules because it's not like there's a fun non-conference game to look forward to. When I look at the Colts schedule, the only thing I look for is primetime games.
Oh, you're not getting any primetime.
There's one. At the end
you
of
got
the
a Monday
season.
Night Football game, and that can be flexed out,
exactly.
too.
In December, you think that's going to happen against the 49ers? There's no chance.
Prognosis negative on
no
that
chance.
one.
I saw your Jets had 2.
We have,
and the Colts get 1.
We're in New York, man.
Why does that matter?
Well, hey, last year
Indianapolis, the Pacers should give Indiana enough credit where they should leapfrog New York.
So you open with a couple of home games there. You got Miami and Denver, at the Titans, at the Rams. Huh.
How I look at it, like home games don't matter to me because I can't go to them.
Are you going to what's that game? Atlanta overseas. Where is that one at?
That's in Berlin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to it if that's what you were asking me. I think we'll be pretty busy in November. At 8:30 in the morning? Are you kidding me?
Come on. You can do that for one.
I don't think I've ever
man.
seen an international game yet. It's too early in the morning.
At the Chiefs?
I'm amazed by the amount of 3 o'clock start times.
Yeah, you got a late kick with Denver. Well, you're out west with the Rams, west with the Chargers.
Yep.
The Titans, for some reason, is a late kick.
Big game.
Is that a big one there?
They want to see Cam Ward. All I hope.
They want to see Daniel Jones versus Cam Ward, man. Let's go.
Right. Wait, let's not count out AR just
You already
yet.
did. I was just
but
following
I'm
your lead on that,
counting
man.
them back in. I don't want to count in Daniel Jones yet. But growing up, since we don't have the television capabilities in Minnesota to watch the Colts, all that mattered was primetime games and potentially those 3 o'clock games.
You had a ton of those when you were growing up.
Well,
the Colts were on TV all the time.
So those were big. And now we have since come into capabilities to watch the Colts, so I'm not as worried about it. But I said it last year. I'll say it again. All I'm hoping for, as a realistic Colts fan, 9-8, second in the AFC South.
9-8. How many did you win last year?
I think we were less than 500. I'm pretty sure 8-9. I want to say.
I have no idea.
You have to look that. I was thinking about it this morning.
I'm not a great Indianapolis Colts mind. I apologize. 8-9 last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we can flip those numbers, I'll be happy. And if we can get a consistent quarterback who is willing to play and not bail out of a game, we'll be fine.
Wow.
We'll be fine.
Wow.
We'll be fine. Yeah. We might.
That was during the mock draft last year.
Yeah, that was a horrible game, wasn't it? When they played the Packers last year and they ran for 475 yards in that game, I feel like
16-10 final score.
Wow, that was horrible. That was horrible. That's when I thought we were. And who'd they have? They had their 5th string quarterback in. The Packers did.
Yeah, because Jordan Love didn't play in that
Malik
game.
Willis was that who it was?
That's right.
Yeah,
That
was horrible. That was absolutely horrible.
Eric tells me we have a fantastic graphic that Kyle made for the Thanksgiving. Kyle makes some badass graphics.
He
here,
does.
So we got to see that. So we have 3 Thanksgiving games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good with Mahomes. So the Packers and the Lions to start on Thanksgiving morning. That game is on
That'll be a
Fox.
good one. That'll be a good one.
Chiefs Cowboys on CBS is going to be really good.
Yep.
That'll get some eyeballs.
Yep.
And then how about Bengals Ravens on NBC
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving night?
That's a good slate.
That honestly, you don't have the Giants in there. You don't have the Raiders in there. They've
Good
traditionally.
riddance. That's all right.
You know what I mean? Like there's been some team. You don't have the Jets, thankfully, in there.
They got good matchups in
That was
there.
actually those aren't bad.
I'm curious to see what's going to go on with the Bengals. Aren't they having a tough time with Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson is holding out right now.
Yeah,
he wants to be paid.
They're a different team without him, so I don't know if they're going to have the star season. I was going to ask about the Christmas slate. So
there you have it. So
this is pretty solid too.
So Cowboys Commanders to start
Chiefs
on
Broncos
Netflix.
not so much. Yeah.
Lions Vikings obviously is at US Bank Stadium, which that will be tremendous.
It's going to be packed too.
I
It's gonna
imagine
be packed. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas or not. That's going to be packed.
They'll do the whiteout for that game. You think?
I would assume.
Bring
I
that
know
back?
McFeely didn't like it. I didn't like it either.
No.
But
the white helmets.
Yeah,
I didn't mind
I
them.
don't know.
I didn't mind them.
know. It didn't look great.
Broncos Chiefs is on Amazon on Christmas night, so that is a streaming day for the NFL.
Yeah.
They are going right up against the NBA.
And
on
Netflix was fantastic last year putting on those games. So.
Did you watch?
I did, because it was Chiefs Steelers.
Yeah, it was
I watched
one of
that
them.
one, and then the Texans. Were playing,
yeah, I
weren't
watched
they?
the end of the Ravens Texans game.
I didn't watch the full because
production looked good.
It
though.
looked good. It was
Yeah.
solid.
You
It
know,
was solid. I think
and
Netflix is becoming a player
The
here.
thing is, when you do your streaming stuff, and we do this, you got to make sure the stream is good. You can't have it go
yes.
down.
Well,
People are going
because-
to watch it. You can't have it go down.
Wasn't it like the week before they had the big fight?
That's right.
Mike Tyson
Netflix
fight,
did.
and
Yeah,
it was a train
They did.
wreck. So they got that squared away.
They did.
I think I'm a fan of watching it on Netflix.
So-
Granted, I'm still using my parents, but it is what it is.
Got to do what you got to do.
You gotta do what
right?
you gotta do. You know.
This is our last time seeing you in person for the next couple weeks because you're going to be out on the road. We're getting ready for state tournament season. We want to talk about track here in our next segment, but you're doing part of our track coverage next week, and then what do you have the week after that?
State A baseball.
Okay.
In Grand Forks.
All right.
So looking forward to
It
that.
has been up there in forever.
What's that?
It has not been up at
Yeah.
it has been at Craft Field for the first time in a long time.
I haven't personally been to Grand Forks in forever, so it's been a little bit.
Well, you were up there in
For
hockey, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Well, it's February. It's not
Yeah,
that long
it
ago.
was a
I was going to
ways.
say you know how to get there.
I do. Yep. You just go straight. Just go straight up. I'll say that. I'm not going to call it north. We just
have you called baseball before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I spent one summer in the Northwoods League.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I spent
Calling
all four
for who?
The St. Cloud Rocks.
Okay.
Yep. So the North. It's a summer collegiate baseball league, which is really
Actually, it's really good. They
really
get some
good
dynamite
talent. Really good
players that
talent,
come
and
through.
they've expanded into North Dakota more than what they have. Because I think when I was there, it was just the Larks.
Because now they have a team in Minot.
From
we know.
Bismarck. Now they have a team in Minot, the Hot Tots.
I think so.
I want to say, yeah. But no, really good competition there. So I spent the summer in that, and then 4 years doing St. Cloud baseball, and then I actually got into broadcasting through baseball.
No kidding.
That was the first thing I've ever called. Amateur baseball in Minnesota. I'm sure you know
Town
that.
ball, yeah.
Town ball.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
It is huge.
Correct.
So we had the DRS League, the Dakota Rice Scott League, which is essentially just beer league baseball.
Yeah.
But
it's hugely popular,
it is
right?
very, very popular. Very popular. So the first thing I ever called was 3 innings of one of those games. So
How old were you for that?
I was 12. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was 12 when I did that one. That was fun. And that was like, man, I want to do this forever. That was awesome. So, yeah, it's been a little bit.
I was going to say, when's the last time you called a baseball game?
Well, last thing on a diamond was softball a couple of weeks ago, but for baseball, it has been probably since I left college, so 3 years now.
All right.
Yeah.
St. Cloud's Field, because we used to go down there for Minnesota section or state baseball because the Spuds would be down there or Perham would be down there. They're dynamite fields.
Yes.
I really like that. And
yeah.
in your neck of the woods as well. I've been down to Jordan.
The
as
Mini
well.
Met is
the
great.
Mini Met is really
the Mini
nice
Met is
too.
great. They've hosted state tournaments. New Prague has upgraded their stadium to host the Town Ball State Tournament.
Really?
So that's gotten a lot better. But they got Joe Faber Field and Dick Putt Field in St. Cloud.
Faber I've been to more than
Faber's the main one.
Yeah.
I personally like Dick Putt's better.
Really?
It's got the what is that, ivy
Yeah,
on,
they do.
on the
that's
wall.
right.
And it's just kind of an old school feel to it. I'm a fan of that one. But they've got some
Minnesota
good
has
facilities.
some dynamite
Absolutely.
small town ballparks are diamonds.
Yep.
There are some. Like,
It is unreal.
Perham's one is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen Perham's
No, I haven't
one.
been
It's
to Perham.
fantastic. Is
No.
great little one. Ada's got a good one.
Yeah.
Dilworth over here. Bob Marshall Field is really, really
I've
good.
seen
in
that
Dilworth.
one. I've seen that one.
That one's
Yep.
really nice. There are some. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. New York Mills at Fergus has got a good one.
Fergus,
out there.
I've been to the Fergus one.
Yeah.
That one is awesome. I obviously have been to a lot more in the southern part of the state than the northern part.
I've been to
but-
Wadena. Wadena's actually got a nice little complex too. They're it's interesting. It's like football fields as well. That some just pop up like, boy, I didn't think that this would be, and their baseball especially. And the state of Minnesota, I had no idea until covering it as much as I did when I was still anchoring the sports. Like, wow, there's some dynamite ones out here you just don't know about.
These towns put a lot of effort into that, into making them, because it represents the city in a way.
Because town ball is such a big deal.
Yeah,
I did
it's
not know
huge.
that when I moved out here.
It is huge
Yeah.
because there's different classes to it. Class C, I would say, it's like Class B basketball in North Dakota. You know, it's the smallest class, but it's got the most teams and passionate fans too. I was the public address announcer for the town ball team when I was in high school as well. So I got my chops in doing that.
All right.
That was.
Well, we're gonna have to ask you how did you do that? Can you give us a sample?
It wasn't good. I don't think. No.
Stepping up to the plate. Can you do that the whole?
I didn't go overboard. I did the routine. You know, now batting, and then you let it pause. You let the music play a little bit, and then Dom Izzo, their second baseman, Dom Izzo, and then boom.
No way I'd ever play second base.
Yeah,
no athletic
I pictured
ability.
you more as a first baseman.
I was definitely a first base.
Me too.
First
Me
base
too.
and right field. That was my spot.
Right field,
because the ball never went to right field.
I was gonna say, so you must have batted ninth as well, didn't you?
Seventh.
Oh,
Seventh
okay.
and eighth,
So you were
eighth
there.
place hitter.
I wasn't much better, so I'm not going to out you too
Hold
much.
on. Did you see before we go to break? Did you see the photo they used today of you?
Yes.
What is that?
Eric's been on a mission to find Eric. If you want to pull it up,
What is that photo from?
that is from a family vacation.
Where are you?
I want to say Lacouture, Wisconsin, and it was at a petting zoo. And I don't know. I remember that I was.
How old are you here?
Probably 14, 15, somewhere in that range. I don't know. I got a lot of pictures. If I find bars, I'm gonna pretend like I'm in jail. If I find like a nose, I'm gonna pretend like I'm picking it, like that kind of thing. But yeah.
God.
No, I'm pretty
Well,
sure that was in Wisconsin at a petting zoo.
I would encourage you to maybe tell your mom to put her account on private, so
I
they
think
can't
it's too
keep
late.
finding
I think
these.
Eric has
Oh,
spent
they've
the
already
last
scoured
2
all of them?
weeks just filtering through everything.
Oh yeah, they're all downloaded. Like we're locked and loaded.
He's
all
been telling me
summer.
he's got a Rolodex he's ready to rip through until football season
That's
starts.
not
so
great.
there's a lot.
Hey, we're doing it for the clicks. We're just trying to get people to engage.
My digital footprint is not fantastic when it comes to embarrassing pictures. So there's plenty. Last week it was be a prom in what do they call them? The tails.
I
suit?
missed that.
You did?
Yeah.
You know, I wore tails to my junior prom, so that was up last
Good for
week.
you. That's slick.
It was a gutsy
All
play.
right, let's break. We come back. I have to get you ready for track. I have got some
Good.
hard-hitting track questions.
No.
To get you ready to call.
Let's do it.
Track. We'll
Let's
do
do
that
it.
on the other side of the break. Back with more with Sam on a Thursday morning hot mic right after this. They found another one. There it is.
Yeah, that's the tails I was
That's the
talking
one,
about.
huh?
Yeah.
Boy, you look sharp.
Thank you. That took a lot of guts to put that on.
Who was your
but,
date?
You're not gonna know her.
Well,
There's a picture of my
she
prom.
might watch.
There's she's intently tuned in to Hot Mic on this Thursday morning. I can guarantee you that. There's a picture of my promposal. I went to the local Czech bakery. I got a big donut and I wrote down prom ? On it in frosting. So that worked.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's slick.
Ladies' man. What can I say?
Before we start, Eric told me he has another geography question for you.
Hit me. I'm ready.
Because we haven't done this in a little bit, so apparently we gotta.
No, not a question.
Oh.
We just have like somebody to challenge your geography skills upstairs.
Who's that?
Someone's worse than me?
Yes, Maddie.
Oh.
What are you out Maddie for?
I mean, she outs me all the time.
So what does she not know?
So she was trying to tell people where to park yesterday because we had a tour
Oh,
come through.
okay.
And She didn't know which way south was.
Oh, okay.
Or north.
Okay.
Like
I could do that. I have a pretty good skill of knowing
what was she saying?
She was trying to figure out how to describe where to park. So I said, if you point toward your office,
Can't you
upstairs
just say
down.
in the parking lot? And there's not very many parking lots around here.
Well, I'm never going to throw Maddie under the bus. First off, she puts all of our stuff on social media.
Right, so we don't want that taken away, all right?
Nothing's going to happen anymore.
Redact all of those comments from the last 30 seconds.
And that's probably more common than you think, because I think more people tell where to go by landmark.
I am
rather than direction.
I'm opposite. I am much better directionally than I am geographically. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like wide picture, can't do it.
Yeah.
Drop me into Johnsonville, Tennessee. I had that town down pretty good.
Johnson City.
Same thing. I was thinking of brats. I'm hungry. My bad. But
you will be in a different town if you go to Johnsonville.
Proves my point. I knew how to get from the hotel to the football field.
That's just me. Like, okay, if you know where the Cenex is, then turn left there and you're good. Like that's how
someone today in the parking lot asked me for directions, and to Prairie St. John's, and I couldn't tell you any street names. I was just pointing, just go right there, look at that tree, just go past that tree, past the park. There should be some rubble over there, I think, from the last time I saw it.
I can't only imagine what you were like in New York City. Like, I can't even that experience was like.
Just pick a direction and go. And once we got to the end of or towards Central Park, I didn't know how to get back because we took too many turns. But that was something. That was fun. I think if I could get that down, I could get that town down.
Well,
Sam, because you guys were talking about prom, I found this.
No. Oh, man.
What is that?
That's a Halloween costume from back in the day. That is myself as Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I had one of the Guitar Hero guitars with me as well. That's a good find. That's a good find. I probably 7 or 8, something like that. Maybe younger. No,
you need
probably.
to tell your mom thank you for
all
all
right.
these gold treasures we have.
I'm going to get on the phone and have a swift conversation with her about all this.
Okay, so you and Cullen Holt and a bunch of our crew will be heading out to Bismarck starting on Wednesday. Our coverage of the state track meet, I believe, begins Thursday online and then Friday on television.
Yep.
And then we'll have coverage Friday and Saturday here on Extra of all the event. Literally, any event you want to see, you can be able to stream it on WDAY Plus. You're going to be part of the broadcast team.
Yep.
So I wanted to get you prepared for what you have to expect to track, because I'm not sure how great of a track mind. Are you a great track mind?
Nope.
You like track?
Never been to it. Never been to. Next week will be my first
number one.
This will be
You've never been to a track meet in your life?
Nope. Can't say I have. Can't say I have. So I've been watching plenty of videos. I've been studying as much as I can.
All right. Well, I'm going to prepare you today.
Let's do it
For a couple of track musts with a couple of questions for you to see to test your track knowledge, which barely may be limited.
May not be great.
Our first question is. Do you know how many events are in the decathlon?
Well, isn't decathlon, doesn't that tell you in the name? So what does deca mean? Is that 10?
That's right.
Boom.
You got that part.
That's critical thinking
now,
right there.
How about what events are in the decathlon? Can you name any of the events?
Couldn't tell you.
We just had...
Is javelin in there?
The jav is in it. That's one.
I'm going to go... Well, how many events are there in total?
You just said it. There's 10.
No, I mean in track and field in general. Because aren't they all in it?
How many different disciplines? There's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But not all of them are in
Let's say there's
the decathlon.
I'm assuming there's a 100-meter in there.
There is 100.
I'm
so that's
assuming
2.
there's a 400-meter.
That's 3.
Wow. I'm assuming, what's the really long one? 3,200?
Not that far. 1,500 is
1,500?
That's 4.
Is 3,200 a thing?
It is, but that's a marathon race. They don't have that in
I'm
the
impressing
decathlon.
myself here.
Because there's a
high
two-day
jump.
event.
Is high jump
High jump is in there. That's 5.
Long jump.
6. You're on fire here.
Wow. Is there any other throwing events? Discus.
7.
Shot put?
8.
Wow. Are the rest...
2 to go.
Are the rest running?
1 throwing,
Hurdle.
1
There's
running.
something to do with hurdles in there.
110 hurdles.
110
That's
hurdles.
9.
Yeah.
And then 1 more throwing event, or 1 more jumping event, sorry.
1 more jump. Pole vault.
Bam!
Boom.
There it is!
Wow. Wow, that was impressive.
You are ready to
That
go.
was impressive. That was impressive. I shocked myself. That was awesome. I don't know where that came from.
If I were to ask you the heptathlon, we'd be here till probably tomorrow.
Alec wouldn't be able to get on the air today.
Last one, in the 110-meter hurdles, how many hurdles are used in the race?
110. 8.
10.
10. Okay, I was
It's
close.
10.
I was close.
It's 10.
I almost
It's
said
10 for
14. I almost said 14. I was like, well, that's a little much. Well, should tone it back on that. That's a little too much. How many times do you bang your knees on the hurdles? That should be the real question. I couldn't get over one of them things.
The jab, I actually got to try one of NDSU's.
I would love to do that.
Athletes, let me throw it.
That would.
Thankfully, there's no video of this because it went.
Oh, really?
It didn't go anywhere.
Shot put looks hard. I don't think I could get that very far.
I asked Peyton Otterdahl about that, about the discus and the shot. Like, how do you do that?
There's got to be a more
strength, man. But it's all about the feet. Honestly.
Yeah,
He told me it's all about the feet.
That's what T said as well.
Yep.
There's got to be a more efficient way to throw a shot put. I feel like than that. But I could be wrong.
There he is, folks. He is all ready for track. He knows all the events in the decathlon.
By the start of next week, I'll be ready to roll.
Unfortunately, there is no high school decathlon, so you won't have that to cover.
What's the point?
To get you ready for the events.
Okay.
You got it. All those events we'll have next week.
10 of them.
Javelin, pole vault, high jump. High jump's really cool.
Yeah.
High jump, actually, when you have someone, and I covered this, we got to go. When someone's going for a state record, everybody is fixated on
the claps.
Everybody's
going and
fixated on the field portion of it. It's actually pretty cool. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Have a ball out there, man.
It's
We're
gonna be
looking forward
fun.
to see the coverage, all right?
It's going to be fun.
Sam Goetzinger joining us each and every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Appreciate it, bud. We'll break. We come back. The St. Cloud State Power Hour continues. Alec Ausmus join us to break down the Wolves' big win. Look ahead to the Western Conference Finals. That's coming up. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Looks like some raindrops down in Wahpeton. Not sure if it's coming this way. Apparently it might, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. We can play some baseball later tonight out at Newman Outdoor Field. Mentioned off the top of the show, Minnesota knocked off Golden State last night, 121-110. The Wolves eliminate the Warriors in 5 games. For the first time in franchise history, the Wolves will play in the Western Conference Finals for the second consecutive year. Just let that sink in for a minute after years when the lottery was the biggest thing the Wolves had to look forward to. Now they're in the NBA's Final Four. Great to have Alec Ausmus back with us, KSTP TV Sports down in the Twin Cities. I have to imagine things down there are on fire today with Timberwolves. Is that accurate?
There's some Wolves hype around town. I mean, I know there's a street right in front of Target Center that last year they spray painted "Go Wolves" across it. It's the same this year. Hype is building. I want to say at times it feels like the Twin Cities can be a little bit on the bandwagon side. They wait for a team to get good, but when the Timberwolves did this last year, no one really jumped off the bandwagon. I think the expectation for this season held strong. And honestly, Dom, it seemed like from people I talked to that were at the game last night, it seemed like at Target Center with the fans, obviously they were into the game, but the expectation was to win.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was expecting anything less than the Timberwolves pulling out a win last night. They were 10.5-point favorites, and I know it got a little dicey in the fourth quarter. That happens. That's the NBA. But the Timberwolves, they lived up to the hype last night, closed it out, and moving on, obviously.
The part I go back to, I remember we showed the highlight on our show back in November when Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle got at it, where Gobert wouldn't get out of the lane up in Toronto and got a 3-second violation on purpose. And that was like, okay, the Wolves are just going to be bad this year. The Randle thing just didn't work. And now I don't know where they would be without Julius Randle. They wouldn't be in the Western Conference Finals.
Dom, I have never been more wrong about a Minnesota professional athlete than Julius Randle. When that trade happened, it was head-scratching, but at the same time, I didn't hate it, but I was like, and then the way the season started, and Julius Randle felt like a misfit, right? He just didn't seem like he fit in the first half of the season, even prior to his injury with this Timberwolves team. And obviously now he's the missing piece. Like the Timberwolves would not be in this position without Julius Randle. Tim Connolly, I don't care what moves he makes from here on out. I will not second guess Tim Connolly moving forward because this Julius Randle and even Dante DiVincenzo has had moments where it's been not great, but off the bench, Dante DiVincenzo has been a key piece to the overall depth that the Timberwolves have gotten them into this position.
I mean, Randall's been dominant. 29 points last night. That goes on top of what he did in Game 4 out in San Francisco. It's just his ability to get to the basket, his ability to shoot the three. I tweeted out last night, why can't the Knicks find players like him? Because he was fantastic.
Well, here's what's cool about Julius Randle. Last night's game, when the Timberwolves just needed a bucket to keep any little run that Golden State was putting together, Julius Randle was getting that, and he was muscling his way to the hoop, and he was able to finish right hand, left hand, in the lane. How many bench points or points in the paint? 72, I think? Yeah. It was over 70 the Timberwolves had as a team last night. But Julius Randle is able to get a bucket when the Timberwolves need one the most, and it's not having to shoot a three-pointer. He can muscle his way in. We've seen it all postseason long. He was 13 for 18 last night.
Man.
Julius Randle, game ball guaranteed to Julius Randle after that win.
Yeah, and even Dante made a couple shots last night, which made me feel a little bit better considering how poor he's been. I'm interested now for the vibe down in the Twin Cities to get ready for the next round, that they're 4 wins away from going to the NBA Finals.
To be able to say this 2 years in a row is absurd. And last night, to close it out at home, that doesn't hurt, right? I mean, that just keeps momentum moving forward. So here's what they're looking at, right? OKC and Denver, Game 6 tonight in Denver. Okay, OKC's favored. Not by a lot, but OKC is favored. Obviously, they're up 3-2. If they win, it's Timberwolves, Oklahoma City on Sunday. Let's get this party started. However, by watching Golden State have to go 7 games against Houston before they play the Timberwolves, I would love to see OKC and Denver bang it out through 7 games, get roughed up as much as possible before they have to face the Timberwolves here. It's exciting, though. Dom, I am concerned. I do have a concern about moving forward with the Timberwolves. The amount of turnovers. It's insane. They make up for it, okay? They can score at will. Last night, the offense efficiency was through the roof, okay? But over 20 turnovers for the second straight playoff game, I'm concerned there. And Anthony Edwards has something to do with this. He had 7 turnovers last night. And Ant, he likes to survey a game, all right? So if the first half starts slow, I heard this stat on the radio last night. This is kind of crazy. Anthony Edwards is averaging 7 points per game in the first half and almost 27 in the second half. So the first half, he's told us even, he likes to kind of get a lay of the land. But last night, it felt like he didn't really get out of that. I know he finished with over 20 points, but he had 7 turnovers. He got the ball stolen from him a few times. I'm a little concerned about turnovers. Against a team like Oklahoma City, for example, they feast on a fast break. They're young, they're fast, they feast off that. So that needs to get cleaned up.
Yeah, they will tear and the Nuggets would too, frankly, if they turn the ball over like that. That's not going to go well. I will ask you just your general reaction. You know, there's some on the national landscape will say, well, okay, they beat the Lakers and Luka was huffing and puffing. LeBron's 40. Curry didn't play a majority of the series. Does that take any of the shine for you away from what the Wolves did?
No, because I think the Timberwolves would have beat Golden State regardless. Now, Game 6, Game 7, Steph Curry, though, would have changed things. He would have changed Golden State's offense. Jonathan Kuminga off the bench maybe could have been that little extra sprinkle they needed to make this series interesting. But I think the Timberwolves still would have won this series, but to their benefit. They can't control guys getting injured. They need to take advantage of it. They need to put a boot on the throat, so to say, and they did. So, and look at this, though. Think about Boston. If the Timberwolves make it to the finals, and if Boston can make it past the New York Knicks, Jason Tatum's got some injuries. Cleveland just got knocked out. The number 1 seed in the East got knocked out. If the Timberwolves can keep this up, I mean, I hate to say it, Don, but this could be the year. Am I crazy?
We all are crazy if you think of it, but potentially could happen. I am intrigued. If OKC wins, the reception that Chet Holmgren would get in Minneapolis will be what?
Okay. Okay. I mean, he played. He didn't leave early to go play at some giant prep school or something. Now he did play with a super team with Jalen Suggs.
No doubt
that's not his fault. Yeah, I don't think there's any ill will against Chet. I think, and it's kind of cool. I've met his dad before. It's always fun to chat with Chet's dad about watching his son play in the NBA. And honestly, Chet tore his Achilles right out of the gate. I mean, his rookie year didn't last long. So to see him in these situations, it is kind of cool. Now, I want the Timberwolves to knock them off, but watching guys play high school basketball around here, and you see them on this stage, you can't help but cheer for them just a little bit. I think Chet will be received just fine here in the Twin Cities.
I think if the Nuggets end up somehow coming back, that reception will be, considering how the Wolves ended it last year, man, that seeing Jokic again, I want no part of that. He's just so
Agreed.
OKC finished him tonight. Just end it, man.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and Denver's been there before. They've done it. They've won a championship. Jokic at times is the best player on the planet. They're still a good team. I mean, the Timberwolves went, 7 games with them last year, and it was physical. It was every point mattered. That's a grind. And, yeah, you're right. I don't know if the Wolves are necessarily built for that this year. I'll be curious to see with Julius Randle, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let's get on. Let's bring OKC and get that party started.
I know even with the Wolves playing last night, the Vikings always dominate. So when the schedule comes out and knowing full well, Alec, that they're going to play, I apologize. I hope you don't have to work Christmas Day, but you may have to now with the Vikes being at home with the Lions of all teams on Christmas Day at US Bank Stadium.
Hey, it's always fun. That's a Netflix thing. I think I heard there's 7 or 8 different channels, NFL, 10 channels that the NFL is on it now. I mean, it's just insane what it's growing to. What's kind of cool, though, right? Kevin O'Connell pointed this out earlier in the week, and this is fascinating. You know, the Dublin game against Pittsburgh, London is against Cleveland. Those are 2 what would have been road games, right, for the Vikings. So now J.J. McCarthy, as a young quarterback, doesn't have to go play in Pittsburgh, and he doesn't have to go play in Cleveland. It's kind of a neutral site. And J.J. McCarthy's used to that, coming out of college, right? He played a national championship at a neutral location, and he did just fine, obviously. So I think that's interesting. O'Connell points that out, that coming in with a rookie quarterback and not having to go to 2 away teams in the AFC like that, that helps, and it's exciting.
Can we start the public campaign for you guys to go to Ireland and England? We'll do that here.
Let's get a petition. All right, I'll send it to our news director. I hope we go. There's some talks about it.
Nice.
And it might even be a whole crew, Dom. Ooh. It might be not just 1 or 2 people. It might even be some people from the morning show, and we'll see. That's not official yet, but it's cool that the conversations are having, and what a once in a career experience that would be.
The amount of primetime games they got or national spotlight games they got must think the Vikes are going to be good, that JJ's going to be good, or they love what KOC's doing, because I know they won 14 games last year, but that's more than I thought they would get, frankly.
I think it's all the above.
Yeah.
I mean, so I hope this doesn't happen, but let's say McCarthy is slow out of the gate, okay? Let's say he's not quite up to par. The Vikings' offensive line is maybe the best it's been in over a decade. The Vikings' defensive line is just as good. They've buttoned up some spots in the secondary a little bit, and there might even be a little more room for improvement there. But this Vikings team all around is a good football team. I mean, I don't have to tell you about Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson and all those guys, Aaron Jones, and it's going to be good. And I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be better than we think, even as a young quarterback coming out of the gate. But yeah, that September 8th, Monday night against the Bears, that's when this thing kicks off, Monday Night Football. I think the Bears will be a lot better. The NFC North, Dom, I mean, it's a toss-up, I think. Who wins that right now? It's not a guarantee Detroit comes back and wins it with Ben Johnson gone. Green Bay, are they the weakest link? And they're going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The NFC North is stacked, and the Vikings are going to be right in the middle of it.
And I mentioned this before I let you go off the top. The NFC North feasted on the AFC South last year, and those teams aren't very good. They don't have that luxury this year. You mentioned the AFC North is good. Baltimore and Cincinnati coming to Minneapolis, so those are really tough games.
Those are tough, and even just in the NFC, like the Washington Commanders, they're not a pushover anymore. Who else is on the schedule? I have it right here. At Dallas, towards the end of the season. That's not great. At the Giants again. I thought that was interesting. We went to New York last year to open the season. I even went to that game, so it's interesting how that plays out. Philadelphia is on the schedule again. It's a tough schedule, and like you said, they won 14 games. That comes with the territory. But you know what, Dom? I love summer, but I am ready for football season.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time, and we'll chat next week, okay?
I always look forward to it, Dom. Thanks for having me.
There he goes. Alec Ausmus from KSTP TV Sports down in the Twin Cities. Does a great job. You'll see him anchored on the weekends this coming weekend. Wolves will find out tonight. We'll know. No matter what the result is, we'll know when the Wolves will start the Western Conference Finals. If Oklahoma City wins, then, as Alec mentioned, the West Finals start on Sunday in OKC. If Denver wins, then the finals will start on Tuesday, whether it's in Denver or Oklahoma City. I just got a feeling the Nuggets are going to win. Maybe not. Maybe OKC will stomp them out here, but Jokic was so good the other night. It's just hard-pressed to see that he will not deliver another big-time game when they the part is he needs help. He was great the other night, but no, Jamal Murray couldn't make a shot. Christian Brown, Bunnell's guy, couldn't make a shot. They need somebody to do something to help out the Joker if they want to get to a Game 7 coming up, which would be on Sunday. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. We'll get you an update on the PGA Championship and a great Sports Thursday on tap. We hope the weather holds out for us as well. Hot Mike, we'll wrap up right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Thursday. Tomorrow, you see the wind already whipping here. Corey Provis will join us from Milwaukee, his old haunts where he used to call games with the late, great Bob Uecker. That's coming up on the show tomorrow at 9:30. Little piece of news that it's not little for those that follow football from Kevin Seifert, who works for ESPN, who just dropped this story with the headline titled, "The NFL owners' agenda for next week, they'll meet in Eagan at the Vikings facility in Minnesota, now includes a resolution that provides structure for player participation in flag football during the 2028 Olympics." And inside the story, I was just reading this during the commercial break, the NFL wants us to have, the players want to play as well. Flag football has been signed off as an Olympic sport in the Summer Games of Los Angeles in 2028. This includes permission for any player under NFL contract to participate in tryouts, a limit of one player per team participating in the actual games, allowing in addition a team's designated international player to play for his home country, a purchase of league-wide insurance policies, they need this, to provide injury protection for any player injured while participating in an authorized flag football activity related to the Olympics. And it's going to take place, the Olympics are scheduled from July 14th to the 30th of 2028. Football isn't happening then. At least the start of training camp would be going on then. The NFL wants this. First off, they want to be included in the party. You know, if the opening ceremony, if you have Anthony Edwards marching for the United States men's basketball team, they want to have Patrick Mahomes there. They want to have Josh Allen. They want to have Jaden Daniels there. Caleb Williams. They want their representation at the opening ceremony. They want to be part of it. And this is going to get voted on next week. So something we'll certainly be following, because this happens also, by the way, in Eagan, Minnesota, is where the NFL owner meetings are going on next week. That's also anticipated. I would imagine there's going to be some more rumblings about an 18th game. Also, they'll probably re-engage on the tush-push issue that they tabled at the meetings in March. That's going to come up again. But looks like flag football with NFL players is I imagine the PA's got to sign off on this as well, the association. But if the players want to do it, they're going to do it. Man, that can be something else if that comes to pass here. We'll find out next week. We got plenty to tell you about here on What to Watch. Let's do it before we get out of here. All right, now, weather permitting tonight, we're going to have baseball for you, the final regular season series for North Dakota State. They'll take on Omaha, 6:30, right here on Extra. Bison have lost 5 of their last 6 in Summit League play. They still could finish in second place, but they got to play the games. They're a half game behind both Omaha and South Dakota State. Coverage begins at 6:30 tonight. We'll update you on that as the day goes on. Our rest of our What to Watch lineup brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. We got Twins and Orioles coming up in about a half hour on Twins.tv as Minnesota goes for an 11th win in a row with Chris Paddock on the mound today. PGA Championship is underway. Television coverage begins here in about 2 minutes on ESPN. Our guy Tom Hoagie will tee off in about 90 minutes from Quail Hollow in Charlotte. And Game 6 tonight, Thunder and the Nuggets, 7:30 on ESPN. OKC wins, they play the Wolves. Denver wins, we got a Game 7. We'll have highlights of that on the show coming up tomorrow. We got to roll. Our thanks to T. Sylling, to Sam Goetzinger, and Alec Ausmus. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Hope everyone stays dry. We'll see you back here tomorrow.